Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Greg. I'm going to go over the cryptocurrency market. I'm going to go over mindset, and I'm going to go over Dash Coin because somebody had mentioned that. I'm going to throw it into this video. I don't want to make a video just on Dash Coin itself right now because I'm going to be able to explain it in this video pretty easy and give you my recommendation on what to do with that coin. Okay, so I'll do that at the very end, but I wanted to do a video here for you guys and go a little bit over mindset because I have two tweets here that I can go over. One here with this gentleman, Richard Cooper, which is a guy that I watch a few of his videos. It's interesting about the whole red pill that's going on. I actually learned about this stuff 20 years ago because I ended up in family court and I saw the writing on the wall and I saw how, and then you have this other guy down there, Martini guy. Do you think Binance is safe? Look at that. You see all that, guys? He has more people say that it's not safe. Binance is going down. That is the sentiment on Binance. It's screwed. You don't want that, guys. If you are of the mindset and you think Binance is going down, then you pretty much are saying cryptocurrency market's probably going to be tumbling like a rock. I mean, all of them, guys. Bitcoin, Ethereum, everything, okay? So if you're in the no group, then you shouldn't have it. You shouldn't be buying anything. If you're in the no group, you think Binance is going down, you should not be buying anything. You should not be, you're just, I don't know, man. It's mindset. It's mindset. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over a couple things here, going over mindset, right? Now, I'm not saying you don't want to look for like the minefields, out you go walking through the minefield of life, and life is full of mines in the minefield, right? So you're walking through life and you go over here and hit one mine and learn your lesson maybe, and then keep going on, moving on, right? Kind of like that illustrative example that I'm talking about. So this guy right here, I was going to show you like a mindset of this woman, okay? This La Madre de los Gatos, which is, she's a mother of cats, to me, which is like a total red flag. So anyway, as she made this comment, let's try to get old women only get, let's try, if you're right here, in my opinion with that, guys, is I'm going to say this, is that she's obviously like probably maybe a feminist or something like that, or she's all for women's rights, which, look, guys, I'm all for women's equity and fairness and treating people correctly, right? Being just rather than unjust, being fair rather than being unrighteous and screwing people over. Totally get it. But there's a point where the mindset becomes so freaking negative, okay? So negative mindset with her and looking at everything in a negative light, okay? So like I've ran across women before, and I said, now, wait a second. Why don't we flip this back? Instead of talking about all the negative things that men have done, why don't we just go ahead and make a list and look at all the positive things it's done? So as an example, I'll go over and I'll say, what about men that invented something that was pretty helpful for society? You know what that thing was? It's called the combustible engine, okay? That thing that goes in front of people's cars so they can drive around. So we got rid of the horse and buggy, and we could drive around in cars. So then people could drive to work, maybe get somewhere. Everybody, you don't even need to be rich to have a car anymore. Like poor people can have a car and get to go where they need to go, right? For the most part. I'm not saying it's necessity, but think of it like that. What about some other things that men have done to help society? Well, let's see. Take a look at air conditioning, maybe some heating, be able to heat your house, things like that. So what I'm saying is that you could take this and flip it instead of looking at everything in a negative light, right? So that's just how I see it, guys. It's like a mindset type of thing. I'm mostly men are watching this channel, but some of these women are so negative and looking at everything in a negative way where they have penis envy so bad that everything is just negative, negative, negative. Those are the wrong type of people to be hanging out with. I don't really care. I don't need to even click on her thread to even get any more information. Those are the type of people that you deal with and then you move on, okay? So you look at the mindset. So when you're a guy, because mostly it's men that are watching this channel, and you look at these women, you got to be able to suss out this woman's mindset, okay? You don't want to drag something, what her mindset into your life, okay? It's just not worth it. And it'll make your life, it'll drag you down into her pit because that's, in my opinion, that's where it is, looking at everything in a negative light. I'm not saying you don't need to avoid that, but you want to do that. And how does this relate to the crypto market? I'll show you something right here in the crypto market. So the Martini guy, this guy, and all these other people. So you go over here to Binance, and you can see here's some news articles here. With Binance, everything is not fine. Okay, they got proof of that. Okay, maybe they do, maybe they don't, probably not. It's a private company, it's not public. They can't go rooting around in their books because, well, they're private. And private companies don't have to let people go rooting around in their books. It's none of their business. That's why they're private. So global drug conspiracy used Binance to launder millions in debt. Okay, here's another negative one. You see that? Oh, man, you know, your regular retail investors are going to do that. And they're going to go, oh, my gosh, crypto, man, it's all about drug dealers and all this other stuff. Okay. Well, let's go back to the 80s and 90s when the banks were doing it with the ones, you know, instead of using that, they're doing the banks, right? And all the people were still using their bank. Yeah, I'll go over there and use that bank, even though the bank was doing the same thing. Had a slew of that going on. The banks were helping these guys do what they needed to do, and they go investigate. And, you know, what happened with the banks? Oh, nothing. Like, hey, we really didn't know, man. You know, sorry about that. Okay, so let's see. What else? Binance move millions, extras burn extremely. What's added? Okay, that's I don't know. Yeah, another negative, I guess you could say. They join a group. Crypto exchange Binance under scrutiny as FTA. Okay, they're under scrutiny. That's been going on 3 days ago. So Mizar is their accounting firm. Got out. They the old Mizar's was you know what it was? It's the bullets came out. They start shooting at Binance. Mazars, or however you say that, was in the site too. They were in the sites. They're like, we're out of here, man. We don't want anything to do with that, you know. So they went and crawled under their rock. So maybe they need to be under their rock. Maybe they, if they did everything correct, then they wouldn't have crawled under the rock. But offers little transparency after FTX collapse. Private company. Once again, it's a private company. They don't need to open up their books. They don't have to. That's why they're private. Boris Johnson, brother quits. Okay. This week, crypto and withdrawals. Binance withdrawals jumped to 3 billion in 24 hours. And, you know, that's interesting too. I've heard the number for Binance is up to 10 billion, guys. 10 billion is what it does. And it's still doing pretty good. So here's Binance. The only thing that you can do with Binance, guys, is all you can do is look at the price action. That's it. That's the only data that we have to be able to make a draw to a reasonable conclusion with Binance. That's it. CZ's not going to go like, oh yeah, let's just open up everything and do that, right? We can reasonably expect that CZ's not going to do anything like that because he can. Like I said, I don't think CZ would have pulled the trigger on this tweet that he made where he was going to start selling his FTT tokens to start this cascade of events off. Personally, this is what I think. I think that he made sure everything that he had was tight, and then he did it, and he started off the cascade and took out FTX. I just don't think, I think the mistake was that FTX assumed that Binance was doing the same thing. But obviously, so far, I don't think that they were. So if you look at Binance, like Binance was one of the few exchanges that was big, like that didn't do any advertising, like Super Bowl advertising. They didn't do any of that type of advertising. They were keeping things pretty tight, which was actually pretty smart on their part. But Crypto.com was look at all the companies that were advertising, like FTX, Crypto.com. You know, most all those exchanges fell are having problems. So that's my whole take on it. It's all about mindset, guys. Mindset. I'm not saying don't avoid the negative mindset. Just understand it and don't let it drag you down. Okay. So how does this relate to crypto? Well, everybody right now here with Bitcoin is you know, pretty angry and negative and everything, right? So what I'm going to do is Bitcoin is most likely coming down into this descending wedge, possibly, right? We will see. We will see what happens, comes up. Now, the other thing I want to say is if Bitcoin is going to come down this descending wedge, and the bounce that Bitcoin is going to do like a mega bear. I posted this on my Twitter account explaining this. If it's coming down and it's just going to do a corrective bounce only to swing back down, like the ultra bear, over here will be a God candle, in my opinion. A freaking God candle will be over here. It'll go boom, and then boom, boom, and then it'll just do another one back down, in my opinion, is probably what's going to happen. I don't think so. I think that there's going to be a consolidation. It's going to correct it, and then there's going to be a wave up and then another correction with Bitcoin. Okay. That's kind of what an area that I'm kind of planning for. So now let's go back to the negative aspect of it. All right. Or not the negative, but the positive of looking at it. So I'm going to go here to quant. All right. So just as an example, guys, and just let you know is that here's the quant chart. This is not the whole chart. This is only on the Coinbase version of it. So it doesn't go the whole deal. Right. So going through here on quant, and it's coming down into this area, right? It was the same thing. It was the same type of mentality, negative. Who knows what else was going on in there? Luna, collapse, FTX, Voyager, and all these other things. But then eventually it bottomed and boom, it went out of here just like so, right? And there's a run up there, 158%. There's 200%. There's another run over here up of 126%. Okay, so you know how many people actually missed this right here, guys? How many people missed that? I didn't miss that. As a matter of fact, there's a guy on my channel. I remember he came and asked me about that. I reiterated that like, he asked me, what do you do? I said, stop loss at $41. Run it in. If it goes up, you win. If it breaks it, you lose. It was a mistake. It's a risk to reward ratio. And I just mentioned to it, I think the risk to the reward right now, the potential reward is much better, higher than that risk. Okay. Right in this area. Massive gains right there during the bearish cycle of Bitcoin. And when did people on Twitter start talking about, on Twitter and on the mega YouTube channels, with over 100,000 subscribers on the channels, when did they start talking about quant? Some of them start talking about quant right there. Some of them start talking quant about right there. And then a whole bunch of them start talking about quant right there. Okay. Right there, right there, right there. Okay. In like the worst possible areas to be talking about quant. Okay. So now how does this relate to what's going on and taking a positive? So what I'm doing is I'm looking for the potential coming setups and a massive run that could be coming. Okay. So going back over to Bitcoin, Bitcoin's up here, right? It's in this area. It could come back down maybe a little bit, bounce, and then come back down and maybe do a bottom. And then there could be maybe something over here with Bitcoin once it finishes this up in the next 30 days, maybe 60 days or something like that, right? Okay. That could happen. So then you could take a look at, say, a coin like Chili's, right? Here's Chili's. So it came up into this wave. As long as Chili's maintains this area and doesn't break that low over here of 0.081 cents, and it comes back over here, Chili's could do a move over here in the next amount of time, just like what I was doing when I was patiently waiting for quant. Okay, so let me go back over QRS. What am I here? Am I going over here at quant? Okay. It's patiently waiting for this all come back over here and then boom and get into an area like that. So that could happen over here, just using Chili's as an example of what could be going on, and then coming back over here and just testing everybody's wits, and then it could be going on over there with Chili's, guys. That's how I look at it. That's how I am. I know everybody's going negative and everything's going to zero, things like that. But, at the end of the day, it's going to be the same thing again. We're in the area of crypto, in my opinion, because of the macro environment of what's going on, that most of the people are scared, and they're not going to be doing any jumping into coins or anything like that, and they're just going to miss these runs. Even here on Chili's, I missed this right here. I wasn't paying attention to Chili's, but I was in quant, I was in Matic, and, basically the same amount, I mean, whether you were in Chili's or whether you were in Quant, you made 200%. Same thing with Quant, same thing with Matic. And there's a really good shot that is going to be coming again, guys. Okay. That's going to be coming again. So there's no doubt I made a video. That was probably the wave 4 bottom on Matic. And if you got in at 35 cents, there's 160, but basically the same. And if you rode it all the way up into there, 250% right there on Matic. So I'm looking at it and going like, what was the problem from June all the way up until basically, let's just say September or something like that? I'm like looking at it going, what was the problem? There were assets to get into where you could have made significant gains. Okay. And nobody ever mentions that. They're just like, oh, we're in a bear cycle. It all sucks. Everything's going to zero, blah, blah, blah. Just like people like this. Okay. Looking at everything in a negative light. Okay. And maybe people like this. Now, I'm not saying to take Binance and just be stupid. You want to pay attention to it and keep that in the back of your mind. If that goes down, this whole market is going down, in my opinion, guys. Everything. Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of it. So I'm not saying be stupid. Just be cognizant of what's going on and be aware of that. Don't let the media influence your mind and get you into this negative spiral mindset, and make sure you're able to look for these, find these potential opportunities that could be coming, because, the gains, even in Bitcoin, it comes back down, and the gains in Bitcoin could be significant. There'll be some guys that aren't saying anything that you're not hearing about on the YouTubes that will probably do a leveraged trade on Bitcoin. Give you an example of a guy that follows my channel. His name's Tony. He's a smart guy. He follows another guy that's actually a pretty good trader. He goes by Crash Traders. Okay. He's actually a really good trader. I've watched him. He's one of the few traders that actually admits his mistakes and tells you, here, I screwed this up, just like I have. Tells you with ICP, I screwed it up. But that's what you do, is you get out of it and you move on. It's part of trading. But there'll be some leveraged traders if Bitcoin is going to be making a move and they see that opportunity. And I can assure you, some people right now are looking at this opportunity right here, guys, back into this area. And if you take some sort of massive leveraged trade back down in here with Bitcoin, you could be talking about some serious gains coming on. But the people that are going to be in this type of mindset, like here and potentially here, they're going to miss those gains, guys. That's why it's important to be aware of stuff like this. Okay. Preach to the choir a little bit. Probably most of you guys know that, because I know there's some people that follow my channel, hardcore traders. I'm trying to remember the guy's name. He did a boss move. He's got the abs. He's got the abs for the pictures. I'm assuming he has a 6-pack abs. I'm actually running a diet right now with myself. I'm trying to get some 6-pack abs, get those back. That was easy for me in my 20s and 30s to do that. A little bit older now, so it's a little bit more difficult. So gotta feel the hunger for a little bit longer. You gotta feel hunger, and when you're dieting and stuff like that, make sure you eat nutrient dense foods and feel a little bit of hunger, and freaking embrace it and just go, hey, it's no big deal. I mean, every now and then you're gonna slip up and go, let me have a little bite of something real quick. Not a big deal. Just continue on, embrace the hunger, and you just get used to it. It's not a big deal, man. It's just not a big deal. You're just embracing it and you're loving it. And you're like, hey, it's not a big deal. And it passes anyhow, like 15, 30 minutes, drink some freaking that bubble. That's why I grab some bubbly water, drink a little bit of it. That carbonation kind of goes in there a little bit. Boom, fills it up. It's like, okay, yeah. Don't do it with celery, though. Don't do it with celery. This is how I figured it out. To let you guys know. If you made it all the way to the end, do appreciate you. Drop a like, hit the subscribe. The celery. This is how I found out with celery is toxic. I used to do it with celery. I was like, I just eat all this celery. Celery actually got me sick, guys. I was eating so much celery, I got sick, literally sick. And I did my own study with my own self on celery. Celery is a toxic. If you eat the whole thing, I'm not saying you can't eat celery. You can add it to foods, but I was eating so much of it, it was getting me sick. And I did a test where I actually started, I kept my diet the same. So what I did my own study. All right. I do my own studies, n equals one. Well, I was the study, n equals one. So what I did is I kept the diet exact same. I would remove the celery. I would add the celery back in. And you know what? All those effects. It gives you like the celery will give you like a flu. If you eat too much of it, it'll give you like a flu sensation, like body aches is what it was giving me. Like you feel like a sickness is coming on, and that's what it was doing. My palms of my hands were turning a little bit. They were turning like a reddish color with the celery. And then I decided to look into the celery. There's people that work with celery. If they forget to wear their gloves and are always handling celery, they get that same thing. I got the same thing. So it all made sense. And I figured it out. I was able to narrow it down. It was actually the celery. So there you go. FYI, celery is toxic to you if you eat too much of it. You don't get any nutrients out of it. The only good thing about celery is the juice. So if you juice it and you drink the celery juice, that's actually really, really good for you. But itself, eating like massive quantities of it, it's actually toxic and it will eventually get you sick if you keep doing it. I'm proof of that. And I figured it out. All right, guys. Now I'm going to go over Dash Coin and just give you my 2 cents on this coin right here, guys. Just because gentleman asked about that, so I'm putting it at the end of the video. If you made it all the way, if you made it this far in my video, I do appreciate you guys. I know a lot of people aren't going to make it this far because they just don't like my style of videos, man. Which is not a big issue. It's not a big issue for me. So, here's the situation. I'm going to give you my overall take on this coin. This coin, Dash Coin, November of 2017, right there. This thing's been in a correction for 5 years. Okay. I'm going to give you the positive and the negative on this. My first looking at this is why even mess with it? Why even mess with it? Don't you think possibly if you look at it, there's going to be possible other opportunities and other assets? More than likely, are there coins with other more reasonable setups? More than likely. This is not giving you any indication that it's done with this correction yet. If I was to even on the bullish side mess with this coin, I don't know if you can short it. Probably so. I would assume that somewhere in some futures exchange that you could go to it and short this coin. Is that I would just wait for something over here, some sort of move that's bullish, and then pick it up on a correction, and maybe you get something like that. So. And went up into this wave. So there's a couple discrepancies I want to make you aware of here. You can see this is a 3-wave move. It came back down, and then here's a move right here. So more than likely, this would be open for debate on this move that it made. You can see from there and there, it hit 1.618 on the nose. Okay. That would be a typical third wave, right? You could say 1, 2, and this is a 3. However, this is too big. So the odds are is that it ended right there. So you got an A, B, C, and now it did a 3-wave move over here. It's coming down and complete it. My estimate is I think it's coming down into a wave sequence that's probably kind of similar to a Bitcoin over here, guys. So your ABC back up in ABC, and then it's coming down, and this is the 5th wave more than likely. Here's your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Potentially here in this area, and a 3-wave swing back up, and a 1, 2. You can see here 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this potentially could be the 5th wave where it's completing it off. Okay, and back down in a sequence, sort of kind of like that is what I would expect, or what I would be looking for. I know this right here was a very dynamic move that it made. That's always suspicious to me in that area, that how high it came up into the RSI in this area. You do have some divergence. In my opinion, if you take a look at that wave, it's probably a flat move that it made right here. It likes to do 3-wave moves like that. Okay, so I'll show you right here. If you take that wave and you come back and you check this wave, 2.618 on the nose, and now it's coming back down. So more like that was an ABC. And the reason I say that, you go back to the history of this coin, back to a weekly chart, and you see right here, 1, 2, 3, back down, boom. That's the pattern this coin is making. It goes bullish, but it's really not making, your 5-wave impulse moves. Overall picture of it's making these 3-wave moves. So personally, my recommendation, I can't recommend anything like this to the bullish side until you have confirmation. Let's say it ends right there. You have confirmation of a move and then pick it back up on a correction, and then maybe get something like that. And then realize that it's probably not going to be making a move. It's probably going to be making a 3-wave move. So up in a wave, back down, and maybe a 3-wave move back up, and then it's going to have a correction or something like that. Because that's just seems like what it wants to do. 3-wave, boom, 3-wave correction over here. And there could be a dynamic wave at some point over here, potentially. I just think the risk to reward ratio at this point is really, really not worth it with this coin. That's just my take on it. If you made it all the way to the end, do me a huge favor. Drop a like, hit the subscribe button. Peace.